All right, guys, this is the 2011 B FRQ. This is number 3. It's got some nominal GDP on there, real GDP, some inflation rate, stuff we all need practice with. All right, so they give you this chart here. It's got 2009 quantity, 2009 price, 2010 quantity, 2010 price. 3A, what is the nominal GDP in 2010? How you get that is when they give you this, right? You just simply, what is nominal GDP? It's quantity times price in any given year. So 8 times 2.5, 10 times $10, 5 times $5, 20, 100, 125. That's going to give you a nominal GDP in 2010 of 145. What is real GDP in 2010? Well, there's a couple ways you can get real GDP. One, you can do nominal divided by the deflator times 100, but you don't have a deflator here. What they've given you is they've given you a base year. They gave you 2009 price. So you would do the 2009 price times the 2010 quantity. So 2.5 times 8, 6 times 10, 4 times 5. Real GDP in 2010 is 100. All right. It's a really good idea. If you get something like this on May 16th or whenever the test is, show your work, write it out. All right. Again, they get stingy with points. One of the ways they do that is by not giving kids the point because they didn't show their work. I showed my work. I'm good. B, if in 1 year the price index is 50 and the next year the price index is 55. Another way of saying price index is GDP deflator. So if the GDP deflator is 50 and then the next year is 55, what's the inflation rate? All right, what is it? It's current year minus base year over base year times 100. Or year you want minus base year over base year times 100. So 55, that's the year I want, minus 50, the base year, over 50, the base year. Simplify that, that's 5 over 50 or 1 over 10. 1 over 10 is 0.1. Times 100 equals 10%. So the rate of inflation is 10%. Definitely going to want to show your work on something like that. All right, and that's what it would look like. Assume that next year's wage rate will be 3% higher than this year's because of inflationary expectations. So let's say you're making $100 an hour. Now your wage rate is going to be $103 an hour. But the actual inflation rate ends up being 4%. At the beginning of next year, will the real wage be higher, lower, or the same as today? It's going to be lower. Stuff that was $100 is now $104. Your wage went from $100 to $103. When stuff was $100 and your wage was $100, you could buy whatever whatever was for $100. But now your wage has gone from 103, but whatever you could buy for $100 has gone to 104. Your real wage is now lower. You can't buy as much stuff as you did before. In other words, inflation went up higher than the wage rates did. And whenever that happens, you get a lower real wage. They're not asking for an explanation there. So really, you got a 1 in 3 chance if you kind of don't know what you're doing there. I hope my explanation made sense. All right, assume that Sarah gets a fixed rate loan from a bank when the expected inflation rate is 3%. If the actual inflation rate turns out to be 4%, who benefits from the unexpected inflation? Sarah, the bank, neither, or both? Explain. All right, it's a little tough, right? So remember, banks will build in the inflation rate into the wage, into the real interest rate. So the inflation rate plus the real interest rate ends up being the nominal interest rate. Well, if the actual inflation rate turns out to be 4% and that's unexpected, the bank didn't think that. They thought it was going to be 3. They didn't build that into the rate they gave Sarah. So Sarah's going to win. All right. So Sarah, the bank is getting paid back money worth less than it paid out. Right? So Sarah benefits. She could purchase more at the time of the loan than the bank can once they are paid back. All right? Because they didn't build that inflation into the rate they gave her, they're getting money paid back less powerful than what they originally lent out. So Sarah wins, the bank loses. All right? Hope all that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know.